NPCs are such an important part of our games. They engage with our players. Our players may invest into them, they may care about them, they may hate them. But not all NPCs are innkeepers or shop owners or people who have hired us to help them. Sometimes we run across these NPCs who are more of the battle hardened type of people, right? They've seen war, they are combatants. What type of people are these? How do we role play these? Maybe we need one on the spot sometimes. Well, Nord Games has given us a great book to help us with just these specific types of NPCs. So let's get into it. Hello everybody, welcome to the DM Toolbox, your go-to place to get all the tools you need to help enhance your D&D games. I'm Joe, and as some of you know, I am back and recovering from COVID, so thank you everybody who messaged me. I'm doing much better, feeling much better, things are going good. Before we get started today, please don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, all that good YouTube stuff, right? It's helping me out. This YouTube algorithm thing is just, kills me, but you guys have been awesome and you're helping me out and the channel's doing great and we are on our way up. So hope to bring you some more giveaways soon. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at toolbox_DM and on TikTok at DM Toolbox. So I'm doing more cool stuff over there as well. One other thing to mention before we get started today. Nord Games currently has their Kickstarter going on for their Elements of Inspiration. This is a box of cards. It's a bunch of card decks. I don't want to call it a card deck because there's actually 9 decks, 420 cards in this big old box. And they are not standard size cards like these. They are tarot size cards. So they're going to be kind of like this size, if you can kind of get an idea. Big cards. They are super cool. I'll put an image up over here for you guys as well. So you can kind of see an example of one. But they are basically 9 decks. They're all based on environment, whether it's swamp or desert or underworld or whatever. There's 9 different sets, and each one's based off our 3 pillars, whether it's exploration, combat, or role play. And then they'll be if you look on the image here, there's a keyword, and then there's a little description, and then they give you 4 different options you can use in that scenario. So you can use the cards multiple times and get different outcomes with them. And then there's a few other things on there, like what's the moon phase and stuff like that. So super cool, really neat way to just I don't know if I would do it personally. I don't know if I would use it to create an entire session. Unless maybe if my friends were over and they're like, hey, let's play D&D and I don't have anything prepared, I'll just all right, I got an idea and I'll pull that out and we'll just play a game based on that, which you could totally do. But I could see myself using it if my players go off the rails. If I'm like, okay, they can go here, here, or here, and they're like, nah, we're going to go way over here somewhere, I'll be like, I'll grab that out and say, okay, here's what happens. I can grab one of the decks based on the environment I know they're in and then let the card tell the story for me and see what happens. So it's a cool way to just get ideas, right? I mean, it's like I've always said about Nord, they are the company of inspiration. All their books are more inspirational and help to drive ideas and creativity. And this deck seems to be almost the ultimate version of that. So check that out. I will put a link in the description to the Kickstarter page, which is live right now. This thing has already blown its funding goal out of the water within the first hour or so. I mean, it was ridiculous how fast they funded. But definitely worth checking out. It is, I think it is a $50 to get this big box set of the physical cards. You can also get a PDF version if you want. You can get them together. They have a higher tier that lets you get 5 or 6 other decks as well, where you can get them all, and they're all been redone, resized, added more cards to them. So really, really, really cool stuff. Definitely worth checking out. It should be a fantastic Kickstarter, so I'm excited about it. All right, let's talk about some NPCs. So Nord Games, I did a video on their Ultimate Skullduggery NPC book a couple weeks ago. Fantastic book. I really like NPC books anyways. It's just nice to be able to pull like this pre-made, ready to go NPC with a full personality. Maybe make some tweaks to it if I need to. But I like having resources like this where I don't have to just come up with it all on the spot, because I'm not always great at that. I mean, I can do it given enough time, but sometimes I just need something quick and I can flip open a book and pull something. Well, Nord Games has given me this book as well. This is Ultimate NPC's Warfare. And this book is filled with more of those battle hardened type of people that you might find in an army encampment, or even like a captain of guards type person, or just any of those types of more NPCs that you're looking to add some personality to, but that are more of the fighting type. And it doesn't necessarily just mean like fighters and barbarians. We're talking like war mages and scouts and all sorts of people like that are in this book. So let's take a look. First off, I love the cover art on it, right? Just the all the fighters kind of sitting around the campfire in the war encampment, right? But it is a cool book. And as always, I think Nord does just a great job with their books. The production quality is fantastic. The art's always good. The layout is always good. They're easy to use. They're very inspirational books. So Nord, fantastic for this type of thing. Another thing that I really like about it is it's very similar to the Skullduggery book, right? It uses it uses like the same formula. It is basically 30 NPCs, but each NPC with multiple stat blocks at different level ranges. So we have like a level 1, a level 4, a level 8, a level 12, a level 16, and a level 20, all of the same NPC. And then, we have a nice little table here that shows all of our different, 30 NPCs. With, basically what's their name, what's their race, their alignment, their class, their background, their occupation, right? So we have that basic information. So if I'm like, I need somebody that would make a kind of a good, somebody I might find in an encampment that's kind of like a fighter scout type guy, I can look around here and say, oh, you know what? Here's a dude who's a barbarian ranger and he's an outlander. Perfect. I'll use this one. So I can kind of take a look here, or I can look at for occupations. And maybe this guy here, he's a weaponsmith and he's also a warlock. So that's kind of a neat little combo. Another thing that I like about these books, and I think this is one of the best touches, right? When they build these blocks out, these books can be used by, DMs and players, right? So as a DM, you have these NPCs here, but as a player, if you're looking to build a character and you just want some inspiration, you can grab one of these characters and turn it right into your own. Maybe you make some changes to it and whatnot, but these are built out as full PC class NPCs. So this guy right here, let's see here. Actually, I found a cool one that I really liked. That was an elven barbarian, and he is, we have him fully built out as a barbarian. So we see all his skills, his weapons. We're gonna have our personality traits, our ideals, our bonds, our flaws. There's a note here on how to role play him, what his equipment is. All that stuff is ready to go. But another really cool thing they do here is like they take the personality traits, ideals, bonds, all this stuff. And I can read through these and go, okay, I get an idea of this guy. But then they give a little bit of a story about him and how he acted in a certain situation. So you could use this to kind of inspire you to his personality. It's like reading a novel. You get a much better idea of a character's personality when you read a story about him, as opposed to just saying, oh yeah, he's brash. And he's hot-headed and he's doesn't have a lot of friends, right? Okay, or I could read a story about him and I really get a sense of who he is off of the story. So reading these little stories for each of these guys really makes, especially as a DM, really helps you to breathe some life into that character, really almost get to know him just in this short, this little short story. So like this barbarian elf, I could tell just by reading this little story that he is kind of an outsider. He doesn't get along with his fellow soldiers very well. They were making fun of him for growing up in a mud hut. They were, like, oh, come drink with us. And he's like, no, I'm good, and they're kind of giving him a hard time. Then as he's walking around, like one of his ideals here is, I don't like bullies. So as he was walking through in the story, he sees a couple soldiers beating up on some prisoners and he gets in their faces like, hey, stop it. And they're like, what are you going to do about it? And they pull a knife out. And at that point, it says, Sense was beginning to fade and everything became very simple. Well, he's a barbarian. He raged. So you kind of get that idea of who he is based on these stories. And I think that is probably one of the best touches of this book, because you can throw out NPCs and talk about personality traits, but a little short story like that, and it's good writing, very good writing, really helps, I think, a lot. So that's really cool. Okay, let's see what else we have going on in here. We have guilds, just like in the other book. We have some good aligned guilds, and we've got, a few other things in here. But it gives you some groups of people that you might run into, or I would say groups of people, right? Like the Thunder of Heaven, the Reclaimers, the Flesh, Blood, and Soul. So it's kind of a neat touch there to give organizations that these some of these NPCs could belong to. Another thing this book does, just like the Skullduggery book, is gives stat blocks for generic NPCs, which I find extremely helpful. We have gate sentinels and palace guards and elite bodyguards. We've got official investigator, watchmaster. We have different types of mercenaries. We have war mages. We have knights. All sorts of. And when I say war mages, we have combat mage. We have blade bound mystic. We've got spellborn shock trooper. So a whole bunch of different stat blocks and stuff like that in the back of the book. So that's super, super cool. We also do have a couple of unique new items. Not a lot, just like a page or two here of some unique new items that some of these NPCs will have on them and that your PCs could acquire. And then we do have some new spells as well. Not a lot, just a few. But there was a cool one here that I really liked called Ballista Bolt. So it's a 5th level conjuration spell where you basically conjure a giant ballista bolt and shoot it. If it hits the target, I think the target makes a saving throw. And if it hits, it pierces and impales them. They take 2d8 damage, but it continues to move up to 120 feet until it hits a solid object. When it hits a solid object, it does 8d6 piercing damage to that solid object. And anybody within 5 feet of that impact point has to make a dex save or take 46 piercing damage. If that object is destroyed by that 2d8, the bolt continues till it hits another object. When it hits another one, it'll take 2d6 less. 2d8 less. So it'll take 66. And then if it breaks that one, the next one it'll take 46 until it can't destroy an object, and then it sticks, and that person is restrained, impaled by this bolt until they're freed. So that's a pretty cool spell. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of cool spells in here. I say a whole bunch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spells. So just 2 pages, but some new spells. So that's always cool too. And they seem to be pretty decent spells. I like them. So yeah, this is the Skullduggery book, the Warefare NPC book. Very cool book. I feel like I can never have enough books like this, like NPCs. I really hope Nord does another NPC book, because they're kind of breaking these NPC books up into specific types of NPCs, and there's a lot more types out there to explore. So I would love to see more of them. I think that'd be awesome. So that's it for this book, guys. You can go down to the description below. You'll see a link over to Nord's site. We can pick this book up and the other Ultimate NPC book up, as well as many, many other books that Nord has. So definitely go check those out. But yeah, I hope you like it. Definitely worth a look. And that's it for today, guys. So until next time, roll those dice.